So what is a seducible moment? Well, if you've ever done any web design work, chances are you've heard the term. And to help explain it, think about the last time you made an online purchase. A seducible moment is that instant where you decide to move forward. You decide to put that item in the shopping cart. You decide to click the order button. You decide to say yes. You decide to move forward. Now, that doesn't apply only to web design. It also applies to emails. Now, marketing automation, the penetration rate is going through the roof. And to be honest, it's not going to be too much longer before almost all of the emails our leads get are really relevant. So, how do we get through the clutter then? That's where the seducible moment comes in. So let's take a peek and see how creating seducible moments should help your bottom line. Cheers.
All right, creating a seducible moment. So why do email calls to action fail? Well, let's take a look. Obviously, it has to be relevant, right? It has to pertain to my world. Otherwise, I guarantee you I'm going to trash it. Now, with marketing automation, making emails more relevant is pretty much a given. But there must be something missing. In fact, there is. Just because something's relevant doesn't guarantee that I'm going to click through. I have to actually trust you. I have to have some credibility into who the heck you are. But even that's not enough to get me to take action. Again, think about when you make purchases. It might be relevant. You might have some trust, but there's usually something else you need before you're actually going to pull the trigger. And that's the emotional connection that we're talking about. What's in it for me? So a seducible moment means to win over, attract, or entice. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to get from I won't click purchase, say yes, or continue to obviously I will click purchase, say yes, or continue. So how do you do that? Well, let's take a perfect example. These are all actual airlines. Would you fly any of them? No? Let's take Feel Airlines as an example. Now, I recognize the jet. It happens to be an Airbus. So I trust that the equipment is good, but does that mean I'm going to fly Feel Airlines? Probably not. Basically because I don't have an emotional connection to them. Now, if they change their name, I might be a little more willing to participate. But as it is, probably not. Now let's take these logos. You're probably very familiar with a few of these, and you probably already have an emotional connection with one or more. Now, it might be a bad emotional connection, but at least you have some connection. Now, I can hear you guys now. Oh, look how cute. Have you ever seen a cuter baby? You've probably seen this picture. It's plastered everywhere. It is just adorable. And what could be cuter than two puppies? I guarantee you I just created an emotional connection. The challenge is these types of pictures don't really work very well in the B2B world. So how do we actually get an emotional connection for B2B players? Well, let's start with trust. How do you get trust? You become an expert. You do this through blogging. You do this through your website. You actually match existing knowledge. If you can say what other people know to be true, the trust level tends to go up. Of course, reviews, testimonials, as well as third-party reports help, as well as social media. Now, how do you create the emotional connection? You be human. It's not a company talking to a company in an email. It's one person talking to another. So tell a story. Now, you can either cause pleasure or alleviate pain. Either way, you're going to get an emotional connection out of it. Leverage gamification is actually starting to be a really good way of generating an emotional connection, and I'll show you that in a minute. So Gartner predicts that 70% of Global 2000 orgs will have at least one gamified app by 2014. 70%. Well, no question, gamification is taking over. But how do you start? Well, let's take this example. This is from IBM. It was a game launched in 2010. The goal is to command a team of consultants in revitalizing the metro area of a fictitious city called City 1. And what's happening here is these consultants kind of help guide you through the game, and you have to actually make progress in energy, water, retail, and banking. So it's not a particularly easy game. So the first thing you do is you have to sign up. And God love you if you actually made it through this form. We could talk about this form all day long, but let's just pretend that you were able to suck it up and get through this. Then you actually start to play the game. What's interesting is the results. City 1 has become IBM's top lead generator, according to Phaedra back in March. Within 5 months of launching the game, it produced 100 times the amount of initial investment put into it. Very interesting. The game is linked to IBM's Smarter Planet, which we've all heard of. It's been described as kind of a corporate version of SimCity. So, a couple rules determine the reward. Right? There's lots and lots of games out there, more every day. Be very clear about what's in it for me. Motivate people to want to play the game. Make it competitive, provide education, discounts, whatever it is, make it really clear what's in it for me. Don't make it too tough, though. Encourage sharing. When you can brag about how well you're doing, that typically helps. And make sure you provide feedback when I'm doing well and when I'm not doing well. So where do you start? Well, take a look at your emails and be really honest about what element is missing. Are you missing trust? Are you missing relevance? And are you missing an emotional connection? So whichever one you're missing the most, start there. By all means, keep it simple. The game should literally last no more than a couple minutes to start. And don't run out and buy some huge gamification software. Marketing automation typically does a great job. Eloqua in particular, you can create a really cool game very easily using landing pages and forms. So, at the end of the day, make sure that you add the following 3 checkboxes to your email playbook. Is it relevant? Is there trust? And have you created an emotional connection?